let's take a look at what are the different barriers to listening. So if you see a typical scenario, especially when you are in interpersonal communication, when you're talking to somebody, sometimes these kind of things happen. Somebody is telling, say there are two people, one person is saying, hey, are you going to the market? And the second person is saying, no, no, I'm going to the market. And the first person is saying, oh, I thought you were going to the market. So now, can you tell me in this conversation who's listening and who's not listening? Both are not listening. Yes. And then sometimes it happens that we are not even listening to that one person who's there sitting next to us. Many times, today we are very busy with our phones, the gadgets that are there in front of us, that we don't pay attention to what the other person is saying. And if you see the attention spans of people, from the time even that I know of, when I was a student, they used to tell that the attention span of a person is around 20 minutes. Now they say it is about 3 minutes. That means beyond 3 minutes, a person is not able to focus. Here are the common barriers to effective listening. Some of the common barriers we're going to take a look at. One thing is poor hearing. Many of you have told about this. It could be because of some noise, ambient noise around you, or it could even be because of some problem with our own hearing mechanism, right? Our ears. So that could be also an issue. The next one is roof brain chatter. Can anyone tell, type in the comment box, what is this roof brain chatter? So basically, it's about whatever you had mentioned already in terms of lack of concentration, attention, the mind wandering here and there. All of these things are what is known as roof brain chatter. So the mind is almost always active, thinking its own thoughts. Now, you all know how many thoughts on an average does our mind produce? Almost around 60,000 thoughts in a day. That's the number of thoughts that are produced in the mind daily. So these thoughts may become rapid and also loud from time to time. It can just completely stop one's receptivity. So roof brain chatter makes up the bulk of one's mental life. Actually, if you see, most of the time there is some roof brain chatter going on. The thoughts are constantly running on in our head, and a bulk of our mental living actually is filled by roof brain chatter, most often than not. So this activity kind of filters out the present moment, drowns the primary perceptions. So you just have so much noise in your head, and we just go into some kind of static imagination. I'm listening to somebody, or I'm watching something, but then in my mind I'm just traveling to New Zealand and Australia and Antarctica and shaking hands with the penguins, things like that. So the mind is just taking me on a trip. That is roof brain chatter. And then the next one is when the message is very heavy. You're not able to comprehend the message because probably there are too many technical jargons in the message the person is speaking, or maybe the message is too compressed. Okay, you're not able to make any clear sense. The ideas are compressed. So that also can lead to some kind of difficulty in understanding the message. The fourth one is rapid or accented talk. I think Aryan had mentioned this. Sometimes when there is too much accent, like we may not understand the Australian accent because they speak very fast. Native Indians, they may not be able to understand the Australian accent because they speak English very fast. The accent is completely different. Unless we are used to it, we may miss a lot of words. So it's just all blah, 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 for us. So that is another barrier to listening. And the fifth one is overemphasis on speaker's importance. The listener is thinking that I just have to sit passively. If the message has to reach me, it is a speaker's problem. If the message is not reaching me, that means the speaker is not good. So the listener is thinking, I don't have to put an effort, but actually, listening is an active mechanism, and it requires effort from the listener also. Then cultural or generational gap. Okay, this you can understand what it is. Now, sometimes different cultures are there. The speaker and the listener have different cultural habits. So sometimes the speaker may assume some terminologies that the speaker is using may be understood by everybody. Like suddenly in some common crowd, I say Vaikunta, Goloka Vrindavan, and so many such jargons I use because I think that the other person may know what I'm referring to. So that is also one barrier. Then multitasking, doing too many things at the same time. Sometimes I like a particular speaker, so whatever the speaker says, with starry eyes, I'm listening. Oh, such a nice information, so nice. Oh, this is so useful because I love the speaker. But if I hate a speaker, if I don't like somebody, that person may be giving very valuable information, and then we may be thinking, what lousy stuff this guy is giving. Like that. So this is called as speaker bias. Okay. Ego and self-importance. When a listener thinks that he or she knows everything and he or she is superior to the speaker, then no communication will happen. No listening can happen. You know, if say this is say container A, okay, this is container A, the one with the ring. This is container A. This is full of water, and this is container B. Okay, the one with the watch. This is container B. This is empty. Now you want water from container A to go to container B. There is a tube connecting container A and B. In which position, if you keep container B, will water flow? Tell me in the comment box, if you keep container B above container A, will water flow from container A to B? No, it won't flow. If you keep it even equal, will it flow? No, it will not flow. When will it flow? Only when container B goes down. Only then water will flow from container A to container B. So when I am listening to somebody and they are passing some very valuable information to me, unless the student or say the listener takes a subordinate position, the passing on of information from the speaker or the teacher to the student will not happen. The student has to take a subordinate position. This is the reason why, if you see in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna and Arjuna in the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, they're constantly arguing because they were speaking on the level of friends. They were constantly arguing. But in the second chapter, Arjuna realized that this argument is not going to help me in any way. I have to take a voluntarily, I have to take a subordinate position. Only at, and he said, Shishyasteham Shadimam Tvam Prapannam. Oh Krishna, I'm still confused. This argument is not helping me. I'm still confused. Please accept me as your disciple. I'm surrendering unto you. Prapannam means surrender. I'm surrendering unto you. Please tell me what I should do. Only then Krishna started giving knowledge to Arjuna. So it is a very important thing. If there is ego on the part of the listener, then that is a big barrier to listening. Okay, so these are the 9 barriers to listening. So here is a nice quote by Wilson Misner. So Wilson is saying a good listener is not only popular everywhere, not only liked by everybody, but after a while, he knows something.